Hello everybody, how are you? I'm in Texas, and you know what that means, right? It means that I hate my life. All this complaining I've done about people not knowing how to drive in Texas, and nobody's listening to me. They're still just driving like Texans, and it's miserable, but that's okay, because I just gotta get this load, and I'll start leaving Texas again. I won't make it out today, because Texas is huge, but I'll damn sure make it out tomorrow. And sometimes tomorrow is all we have to look forward to. Oh my God. So today, guys, let's strap on our tinfoil hats and get into some Swift conspiracy theories about this guy Trucks, should we? I was actually going to buy some tinfoil and make a hat just for this video. And then I remembered I work at Swift and I can't afford tinfoil. So anyways, with that said, I do have some people to thank from the last video. But I just realized I'm very thirsty, so watch me take a drink of my cool, refreshing beverage. Oh, that's delicious. And we'll get into it. Not sponsored by Body Armor, by the way. But I do got some people to thank for the super thanks in the last video. Before we get into my Swift conspiracy theory about me. Yeah, that's right. Look. I'm not going to sit here and be crazy all by myself. If I'm going to start thinking crazy things, I'm going to drag all of you down with me. You got to think crazy things too. I'm not doing this alone. You guys are either with me or you're not, all right? So you got to be crazy with me. Anyways, let me get to that real quick. We got a lot. I guess you guys must have had good weeks last week because a lot of people sent super thanks last week. So or last video rather. Thank you guys so much. Here's the list. It's a fairly long one. I didn't expect all that, but I'll take it. I'll take it. We got Freddie with $10. Thank you, Freddie. Appreciate you, man. We got Trucker Nate with $5. Thank you, Trucker Nate. Appreciate it. We've got Sizzlin' Trucker with $10. Sizzlin' Trucker with $10. And we've got Nitro Turtle with $20. Thank you, Nitro Turtle. Appreciate you. We got Steven with $5. Thank you, Steven. And we got Florida Jake also with $5. Jeez, that took a while, didn't it? Thank you guys all so much. Even if you don't send a super thanks, I still appreciate you being here and liking the comment and subscribing and all that stuff that you guys do to help my humble little channel grow. I appreciate you guys so much. Even though I get grumpy sometimes and I don't always think about it. So today we're going to talk about how Swift is targeting this guy Trucks to force him to quit driving for Swift. And I made the whole thing up. None of it's real. But I'm starting to feel that way a little bit because something fucking odd is going on around here. And I don't know what the hell is going on. So you guys remember the last video, I had talked about 2 loads that I rejected. In my life, I have never been the guy to reject loads, right? And I realize now that a lot of that is what has fucked me over in these lease purchase programs. Yes, obviously, it's something I realized a long time ago, but what I'm starting to realize now is I just can't do that anymore. I can't do favors for a dispatcher that needs to get a load off their board or a load planner unless they're going to find a way to make it worth it for me and not by paying me by the mile. I just really have to, it's nothing personal. Right? It's not like I have an axe to grind with some load planner that's pissing me off. It's nothing like that. But if I'm going to succeed at this for once in my fucking life, then I have to make good decisions, right? What loads make sense, and goddamn it, what loads don't make sense. And that, I've always tried to be, I covered this a little bit in the last video too, but I've always tried to be like that team player. Oh, the company needs me to help them with something. Yes, they do. But you know what? They also don't give a fuck. And that's any company, right? If you say yes and you go do it, they go, okay, cool, guys. We got that load moved off the load board and then on to the next thing. There's not a trucking company out there that's going to like take care of you because you were a team player. They're just, okay, we got that load moved. That's that. Who cares, right? So as you guys remember last time, they gave me a bullshit load that had me going back into Atlanta on a Friday afternoon, evening, you know, right in that rush hour. And then they had thought that the load was going to be late the next morning in Charlotte. And they were like, hey, when you get there, they'll work you in. I do not have time to be worked in. Now, if the load's late because I'm fucking off and I didn't get it there on time, then that's my own goddamn fault, right? And I deserve to take that hit and sit there all goddamn day if that's how long it takes. I learned very early on in my trucking career, being late to appointments is very fucking expensive to the truck driver. And you guys all know that are truck drivers too. It costs you a lot of money because you're going to sit there and you're going to wait. Some places like that are run by Capstone, I think, are charging late fees now. And the companies the trucking companies aren't covering those late fees as far as I know. Like maybe on the company side, but on the owner operator side, they're like, hey, yeah, you were late. How are you going to pay that late fee, right? And then all the time wasted, maybe you miss out on the next load. Being late is one of the worst things in trucking. So if I'm late, like I said, because it's my own goddamn fault, then I deserve whatever happens. But if I'm going to take a load that's already going to be late, I'm not interested. I'm not going to take that fucking load, right? So I rejected that one. And then I had found me a nice load. I was down in Macon, Georgia, going back up to, you know, the Chicago-ish area, right? When I got up there, you guys remember, they had sent me a 200-mile load that also included 200 miles of deadhead, and it had a very, very tight window. And I rejected that one too because of all the money I would be losing on those 200 miles of deadhead. Now, remember, I said that Swift pays 85 cents for our deadhead miles for the owner-operators, right? Cool. That's good. You're still getting paid for that, right? But 200 miles is almost half your day, or could be half your day, depending where you got to drive through, right? And you're missing out on, at very least, once you figure out what your loaded mile pay is for that load and your fuel surcharge, at very least, you're losing out on 70 cents at minimum per mile to take that load, to run all that deadhead to go over there, those 200 some miles of deadhead. Now, I would have taken that load had there been like, you got to deadhead 200 miles to pick up a 1,000-mile or more load, but I'm not deadheading 200 miles to take a 200-mile load. Nothing about that makes any goddamn sense, right? So you guys remember I rejected that. And then what did I do from there? Let's see, they actually had sent me, because I think I rejected that on a Sunday, if I remember correctly. And then Monday morning when I got up, they had sent me a load that I'm like, okay, cool. Because I looked at the load board, I wasn't finding anything. So they sent me a load that was like Chicago down to like Kansas City area. I'm like, okay, that's not a bad one. I'm already in this area. It's 500 some miles. Cool, we'll take it, right? And then how did I get to fucking Dallas? How the hell did I get here? Did I book this or did someone else book this for me? I feel like I booked this off the load board, but now I don't fucking remember. Anyway, somewhere along the way, I ended up with a load from Kansas City going to Dallas. Either if I booked it or if I didn't. That was yesterday or 2 days ago. I don't fucking remember. That's a long goddamn time ago, and I'm getting old, my friends. What the fuck you want from me? So anyway, somehow I ended up coming to Dallas, and I was looking at the load board. I was actually gonna grab a load and go home for a night because there was a load going back up to Denver, and I was like, I'm just gonna grab that. But it was, you know, from Dallas to Denver, which is what, about a day and a half ride or so, and it had like it was delivering like somewhere like 3, 4, 5 days from its pickup, and I was like, I can't take that. Now, it's possible I could have taken that and then been like, hey, dispatcher, can I T-call this in our, you know, in our Denver yard? And maybe he would have said, yeah, we could do that. But I didn't want to take the risk of him saying, nope, you're just kind of stuck with that load. So I didn't grab it. But I got on the load board again a little later last night because they hadn't sent me anything yet, and I hadn't found anything. So I got on the load board again, and I found a good fucking load. I was happy to see it. Out here somewhere in goddamn Texas, shooting back up to Ohio, 1,100-mile load. Hell yeah, I grabbed that fucker off the load board. Now, here's how this thing works. We have this app that's separate from the load board, right? But you go to the load board, if you find a load you like, you push the button to book it, and as long as it's still available, it says booking success. And then you wait, because I guess a dispatcher or load planner has to actually assign that load to you. They get some sort of notification, I guess. So sometimes it takes a while to see that load actually come through on your phone. And so I'm sitting here hanging out in my truck when I see a load come through, right? It's not at all the load that I booked. Not fucking at all. It's like some load that's like out west of Fort Worth, maybe on 287 or something. Go pick that up and then take it back to Fort Worth. Take it 40 miles back to Fort Worth. I'm sitting there looking at the load going, are you fucking kidding me? Are you out of your goddamn minds? What the hell is this? So you want me to bring this load into Dallas, then deadhead somewhere, you know, out west of Fort Worth to grab a load 40 miles from Fort Worth and bring it into Fort Worth. And somewhere along the lines you thought this was an okay load? And I get it. Like, listen, I'm not here to like bust Swift's balls, and I'm partly saying that because I know they watch sometimes, so don't fire me, goddammit. I'm just saying that's a shit load for an over-the-road driver, and we all know that. But I also understand, like I was saying in the last video, they simply just have a different objective than I do. My objective is to knock down as many miles as I can on a weekly basis, and try to get the best loads that I can to keep this truck rolling, right? Their objective, quite simply, is we've got an available truck over there, and we got this load that needs to move. See if they'll take it, right? And they're hoping you'll take it. Well, I fucking didn't, because I'm like, that sounds like the biggest waste of time ever. A 40-mile load, you know, your fuel surcharge, I think we're sitting at like 43 cents for fuel surcharge right now. I'm not entirely sure. And I forget what the top end, because that would have been on the sliding scale for mileage. That would have been at the top end of the pay. I don't know, a $1.19, a $1.24. I'm not really sure. But we could say that I was going to run the 40-mile load plus deadhead, whatever the deadhead miles are, paid at 85 cents. Then the you know, $1.65 to bring it back into Fort Worth and deal with Fort Worth traffic to go to a live unload. And what the fuck are we doing? Nothing about this load makes any sense at all. So I was surprised to see that come through, and I rejected it. And on our little app there, it says, what's the reason you're rejecting this load? And I don't actually know if you have to fill that filled in or not. Sometime I want to just reject a load and try not filling that filled in and see if it shoots it back at me or what happens. But I just, on that part where it asked what for, I said I just booked, like literally 2 minutes before that, I had just booked the load going back to Ohio. I said I just booked a load, an actual load, on the load board. I'm waiting for that to come through. That's why I'm rejecting this load, and I would have rejected it anyways. It doesn't make any sense. There's no profit in me running a 40-mile load for fucking anyone. And I guess the thing that kind of baffles me about that a little bit is Swift is huge. Swift is a massive company. You're telling me you don't have local Dallas drivers? And hey, you know what? It's not my business to know that or not know that. I don't fucking know. But I would have to assume they got to have some local drivers running around the Dallas-Fort Worth area, or somebody that runs a dedicated account or something. Someone they pay by the hour maybe to run this 40-mile piece of shit load. And I was just really surprised by it. But here's where we kind of get into the conspiracy now. Because I haven't rejected a load since I've worked here, guys. I have not rejected a single fucking load. I've just taken everything they gave me up until they tried to give me that first load to Charlotte that I didn't like. Then they tried to give me that other shitty load with 200 miles of deadhead that I didn't like. And then they back it up with this 40-mile load running around the Dallas-Fort Worth area that I rejected. You guys want to join me in this conspiracy theory now? What the hell do you think is going on? Did I annoy them with my videos? And they're like, you know what? Let's just send him so many shit loads that he keeps rejecting them that we just go, you know what, asshole? If you don't want to be here, don't be here. We're voiding your contract, right? That'd be funny. But it's just weird. It's just a very strange thing that's going on right now, that they keep sending me really, really shitty loads, just terrible ones. And I, quite frankly, I can't afford to take them anymore. I can't afford to, you know, take one for the team in hopes that the week's going to get better. In my 10 years of trucking, you know what I've learned when you're behind the 8 ball and just hoping that the week is going to improve? It never does. When you lose time on that week, call it. You might as well forget about it. That week's just going to suck, and you're not going to make the money you wanted to make. And then, you know, they come back and send you a shitload the next week. And then what do you do? Then what do? You don't take that one. But if you do, you're going to fuck that week too. And like I said, I get it. Their idea of this business is way different from what my idea of this business is. And they're just trying to move the fucking load. I understand all that. But don't you think it's kind of weird that they just back-to-back 3 loads in a row that didn't make any goddamn sense? That I would have to be like, what? No, I don't want this. Isn't that kind of strange? Are they out to get me? Yeah, I think they are. I think all Swift is trying to get my ass, right? They're like, you know what? Let's just push him out. I don't actually think that, but it is a little bit strange that they are just sending me repeatedly awful, shitty, terrible loads that I don't want. And I have to assume they've probably already sent them to 10 other people that rejected them also, and I was just, you know, 10th on the list, and they're like, well, send it to that asshole and see if he'll take it. And they eventually will find the asshole that will take it, and that is their job, is to keep freight moving regardless of how much it sucks to move that particular load. And I understand that. What else do I want to talk about? I guess I'll probably cover this more in my 3-month review of Swift that should be coming up in a week or two, if they haven't kicked me out the door by then. But anyways, the load board's getting a lot better. I don't know how many loads are on it right now at this current time, but when I first started here, only just under 3 months ago, you know, you had 5 or 6 loads total, nationwide, entire country. And then we got up to like where there's like 4 pages of loads that you could look through nationwide, 15 loads per page type of thing, right? And now we're consistently seeing 8 pages, you know, and that's not enough still, but it's a pretty substantial jump from where it used to be. And I think over the last week and a half, maybe 2 weeks, I've booked 3 of them myself just off the load board because I'm like, that one looks good. And that's kind of what I'm hoping for. I hope that's what Swift is hoping for too, is just to get that load board to that point where we can just book what we want, mind our business. You know, if I find a load going home, I can just grab that. I could stop by the house for a day or two, go off, mind my business, you know, come back, find the load I want. That's obviously what we want to happen, right? And there's other companies, I guess, obviously, that have load boards. Schneider's had one for years. Somebody was telling me that JB Hunt has one, and I always knew that JB Hunt had a load board, but I guess I didn't realize that it was like a internal. I always thought, because JB Hunt does a lot of like brokering stuff too, don't they? I don't really fucking know. But that's where we'd like to see it, obviously, to a point where we can just book ourselves. And yeah, that's what we're going for. My brain just kind of locked up right there. I'm tired today. So anyways, I just thought it was funny that I've been here for, you know, just 3 months, not a whole lot of time, but then just out of nowhere, it's just like shitload after shitload after shitload. Now, I do have another theory, though. I do have another theory, because I've been very busy here the last couple weeks. Like, there's not been much downtime. There's not been like uncertainty that I'm not going to have my next load and stuff like that. And the first month or so, even 2 months, was kind of like, what's the next load? What are they going to give me? And all this stuff. And it's been very busy. So maybe actually all these shitty loads being out there might be an indication that maybe the freight market's turning around a little bit. They just got a bunch of like odd bullshit that they're not sure how to cover right now. And maybe, I mean, it's just a theory. I don't fucking know. And if I'm being quite honest with you, I'm a little burned out. I'm a little tired. I think I have home time coming in a week. I was supposed to take home time like 3 weeks ago, and then what did I have go wrong? The fucking truck broke down. I remember that. The truck broke down. I was still paying off that boot. Remember the boot that I got? Yeah. But that's paid back now. So that's good. What the fuck, though? I think it was the truck breaking down, and I was supposed to be off that weekend, and I was off that weekend, but I wasn't home because I was sitting around in a motel room with a broke down truck. That's what the fuck I was doing instead. But I think I'm about 10 days out or so from home time. And if you guys can't tell, I really fucking need it. It's about time for it. But I guess that's all I got. I just thought it was kind of funny. Like, I'm sitting here in the truck acting like a crazy person going, are they doing this on purpose? Are they giving me loads they know I'll reject? So they'll be like, hey, asshole, why are you rejecting all the loads we send you? And, well, that'd be funny. That'd be a clever way to end our relationship, I guess. So, I don't know. Anyways, I gotta go find something to eat out here in Texas. Bye now.